Greetings everybody, I am at LAX Airport, aka Los Angeles Airport, California. I've come here to do some litter picking. It is, I think it's, what is it little baby George?
What time?
January?
January 17th.
I'm here with little baby George. There's little baby George.
Hello.
Oh, look at little baby George. We've just been for a flight actually on one of his friends.
We just flew over here.
Tell everyone where we flew.
We flew from John Wayne to Camarillo. We flew directly over.
We flew over this airport about 2 hours ago on our way up. George's friend treated us to breakfast in his little aircraft. There's a big old 747 coming in here. So George is going to watch the planes for a little while. You can see like Tom Bradley terminal over there. You see the Lufty 747 and the Emirates A380 and the Qantas one. There's the BA one as well over there. It looks like they brought their triple over here. So thank you for joining me everyone. I'm going to go and put my litter picking gear on as that United 757 takes off. George is going to watch the planes for a little while I do the video, and as always, let's get to work.
See ya, bye.
See you later George, see you in a little while. Right everybody, they've just changed the bins here. So this is like one of the best observation decks I've ever been to see aircraft. They've just changed the bins, the city have, and this flew out of the bins and they didn't come and pick it up. I thought I won't say anything because Trash Trek was here, sort of thing. So they've just changed all these bins. But as you see, there's quite a few people up there. They all look at the planes coming in, which is really nice, if you can see. So I'm going to go this way. I'm not going to edit this video too much because I said to George, I'll just do like 45-50 minutes and just see what I get. Last time I was here, it was filthy. That was in April. No, sorry, it wasn't. It was in May. I came back for May for a week. That was in May 2025. It was filthy here. But this is what gave me the idea to clean it. But I just thought, I've come this side and I said to George, it don't look as bad, but you never know because you can see the roadway down there. So when I'm on the road, I don't see all this sort of crap piled up everywhere. So I walk down to the road and then back up and around.
The British Airways one's going to follow it.
So yeah, I've just been for a flight with George's friend. He's got a friend. George works at John Wayne Airport. Let's get off this heavy stuff in a minute. Grass is like flipping cactus. George has got a friend at John Wayne Airport who owns quite a successful business, and George has filled up his plane and whatnot at John Wayne Airport, and George was chatting to him, and obviously George is a trainee pilot now. He's got about 500 hours under his belt and he's actually become a flight instructor. This is much cleaner than last time I came. This was absolutely filthy, absolutely filthy. I could have got 10 or 12 bags last time, but at the moment it don't look like I'm doing too bad. I'll mosey round, see what I get. So yeah, we went, oh look, there's a United going up, look. An A320 or 21 United. So it takes off towards the sea and then they turn once they get to a certain height, and then they just sort of get what they get basically. So looks like some children have been here and they've made a little sort of thing and a ramp. I used to do this when I was a child. We'd build a little ramp in the park and we'd go and jump. They'd put like stuff there so you could jump the furthest. The times I crashed and hurt myself. Hey, what you do when you're a child? So yes, George, so yeah, so he befriended this guy who's got a plane at John Wayne Airport, and he went flying with him, and then he said to me this morning, like, last night, he said, get up early in the morning, Dad. I said, well, I'm getting up early anyway, because Fulham are playing. We've just lost to Leeds. I think it's January the, I don't know, to be honest, I've lost track of everything. It's about January the 17th, I would say, something like that. Now, I know this will go out in the summer because I've already made a lot of videos that I know. I've just got to piece a few in here and there. But as I said, yeah, last time, that's what inspired me to look at it. It was filthy round here, but they've obviously cleaned it up. Go on, Barry. Go on, Barry. Go on, Barry. Go on, Barry! We've got a Barry. We've got ourselves a Barry. Go on, Barry. Right, I walk to the end of the park. I might just dump this bin and put on a fresh one. And then I'll go down the roadway a bit. I know it was a little bit dirty off the sort of observation bit where you can look into the airport, but I think some people just throw their stuff over the wall sort of thing. So yeah, so we flew from John Wayne Airport out to Catalina Island. This guy's aircraft has a top speed of about 350 miles an hour. And we got up to about 10,000 feet, very comfortable. And then we flew to some airport called Camarillo, which is sort of, how do you describe it? It's north of Santa Monica anyway. And then what we done then was he treated us all to breakfast. He said, "What do you want, Gerard?" I said, "You sure?" I said, "I'll treat you. You've treated me to the flight." And he's like, "No, no, 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 no." I said, "I'm not a peasant, you know." There you go. Nice place to leave all your crap. So this guy we flew with is worth a few $100 million. That's all I'm prepared to say. Lovely guy, real down to earth. Said he buys second-hand golf balls because the golf balls are too expensive. You know, he's worth a few $100 million, and he's like, "I'm not paying $70 for 12 golf balls." He goes. I started laughing. I said, "No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you." So he treated us to breakfast. I had a BLT and chips. They're sitting on my stomach at the moment like a lead balloon, they are. They're sitting on my stomach like a lead balloon. And then we flew back. George piloted us back and the other guy piloted us out. So because of its speed, it done the journey in about 35 minutes, where when I've done it before in slower aircraft, it's taken about 45 minutes or so. Let's just get this tidy for the meantime. Right. So what I'm going to do, everyone, as that's a little bit cleaner than what I thought it would be, I'm just going to walk round, and then we'll do this roadway. So guys, just gonna walk along this roadway and just see what I get. I was expecting more, so at the moment it seems a little bit dry sort of thing, and what we're getting a little bit bleak. But there's loads of stuff being chucked out the window here, so hopefully we'll just pick it up and give it at least a tidy up what it needs. Gives me a good opportunity actually to tell you about aircraft for the ones amongst you who just think an aircraft is an aircraft. Been wanting to do this on a video for a long time actually, so I might as well do it today. Crikey, it's the LA Rosers. It's the LA Rosers. So yes, when you do fly, I know a lot of you just think a plane's a plane, but they just vary in size and weight and everything, yeah? So I won't go with the really small jets. I'll start at like the A320 family. So most aircraft nowadays are two engines. They're two engines. 4-engine planes are becoming a relic basically because of fuel burn and all that. I know Emirates, they've got the biggest fleet of A380s, and I heard in about 2020 their 2019. Just check behind me. There, they spent something like $11 billion just on fuel for their aircraft in 1 year. $11 billion just on fuel. Talk about all the costs for the plane and running expenses. Mind-boggling. So airlines have switched to more fuel efficient planes. So here's like a narrow bodied, so you've got narrow bodied and wide bodied 2-engine planes. All the 4-engine planes are all wide bodied. So you'd have like the A320 family, that'd be like the A318, the A319, and then a little bit longer is the A320. And then they sort of made it my favourite small aircraft, the A321, which is again is a little bit longer again. I think I'm getting close to changing my first bag here. Yeah, there's one that's come out the window, look. Straight out the window. So I'll put some pictures up of these smaller narrow-bodied planes, and then also I'll put the Boeing 737 up. I'll just change this one here. I'll come back and pick it up when I walk back. So as you can see they're 2 engines, but they're narrow bodied. They have between sort of 120 and 180 passengers, and they can fly though quite a range. The A321 can fly, they've got like a long range version, can fly about 3,500 nautical miles, which is about 3,800 real miles. A nautical mile, just to let you know before you need to go on Perplexity and ask, is 1.15 of a mile, so it's 15% longer. So if you just add 15% to a nautical mile, you'll get real miles, shall we call it. Let's just change this. I don't want to do too much editing on this video. Well, I'll come back for that bag. So these are the smaller 2-engine jets. So as I said, you've got the 321 family, and then you've got the 320 family, sorry, and then going up to the 321, and then you've got the 737. Now Boeing make the 737, and then they brought out the Max version. Oh, pissy one, let's empty it. Don't really want to be stuck with that. Now the Max had a couple of accidents. I think the problem was with the Max, something to do with the engines being too close to the floor, and then they had to redesign it all, and it was done by computer software, which went wrong, I believe, unfortunately. Let's just get that. So we're on bag 2 at the moment, slowly and surely picking up crap on our LA airport special. So the airport's over there. This is one of the sort of roads. I might just go in that middle bit in a sec. I don't want to go too far. I'll go up a couple of 100 yards more, and then I'll... Well, that ain't coming out. Let's see if I can just get that one up on the embankment there. Bloody steep, this embankment. So then the next range of aircraft, there'd be, again, 2 engines, but they'd be slightly wider bodied and slightly wider. And that'd be like your A330 Airbus and your 787 Dreamliner. Now these have a much longer range. These have ranges of like 5,000 nautical miles or more. So these are the sort of planes you take from, say, Los Angeles to Tokyo, or London to South Africa, or, you know, places like that. And then they've got a capacity of about 250 passengers, maybe a bit more. So these are like the next planes up, but still 2 engines, but just longer and bigger. Right, you see the observation deck up there? You can see the American flag. So that's where I was. Little baby George is up there somewhere. I might give him a shout if I see him. He'll be looking at the planes coming in. As I said, it's a great spot if you're ever in LA and you like the planes. This is on the south side of the airport. It's just a tremendous spot. Is that little baby George? I can't see him at the moment. He's there though, somewhere. So that's the next type of plane. And then now what you're doing is going into the bigger 2-engine aircraft. So now you're looking like the 787 Dreamliner 900 series and the A350, the Airbus A350. You do have a couple of actually other smaller 2-engine aircraft like the Embraer 175 and the Embraer 195. They're a little bit smaller than the Boeing and the 320. I think, and then you got China are doing an aircraft called the Comag, which is a bit like the 320 as well. But I'll stick to the main suppliers. I'll just walk up a bit more and then I'm going to come on this middle bit. I promised George I wouldn't be any more than about an hour. I'll go to that no stopping sign and then I'll turn back and come along the middle. Take the bags with me. So now, yeah, you're up to the A350s. I'll be going back in a couple of days' time on an A350 1000 with Mrs. O. So I'm going to be honest, I'll tell you what's happened. We've come over to do a little bit of house hunting, but it hasn't gone well for us. I don't want to mention too much, but at the moment it's not gone well for us. So we're going to go home and have a little think about where we stand for a month and just have a little re-evaluation at the moment and then just see where we stand. But yeah, it's been a bit of a pain, to be honest. Found a couple of houses I like, but they were a long way from anywhere that I wanted to be. And I just said to Mrs. O, I don't want to live down there. I don't want to be that far from your family. It just defeats the object of moving. So she sort of half-heartedly agreed. She's like, I know what you mean, but Anyway, that's nearly bag 2 filled up. Let's cross over into the middle. Actually, I'm just going to get that. I've just seen something else big up there. I want to go and get it. It'll bug me otherwise, knowing it's there. There's lots in the middle bit. I'll probably get a couple of bags worth. I'll have to just lug them back. Right, that'll do. It's gone as far as I want to go. It's definitely much tidier than when I was here 8 months ago. Just cross into the middle. I'll catch you in the middle, everyone. I'll catch you in the middle. Go on, Barry. Go on, Barry. There's loads in the middle here. I'm going to get a few bags here, without a doubt. So yeah, so I was now talking about long-range, wide-bodied, 2-engined aircraft. And so as I said, you've got now like the bigger Boeings, like the Dreamliner 9 and the Dreamliner 10 and the Airbus A350 900 and the A350 1000. As I said, I'm going back on Monday in 2 days' time on an A350 1000. Now these aren't totally made of like aluminium. They're made of composite materials as well. Let me just change this bag, everyone, while I'm here. I'll have to carry it in the meantime. I didn't realise I'd walked so far along that road. I've probably walked about 500 yards from that light. I didn't realise I'd gone that far. As Lauren would say, mega. Lauren hasn't joined us on this trip. She is coming over in February. By the time you see this, she would have been over and come back again. So as I said, I think it's the 17th of January. It's a Saturday, that I do know. Oh. So I got up early and watched Fulham lose 1-0 to Leeds to a 90th minute goal. I was like, oh great. Ah, I thought some stuff for that. Look, these epoxy bags have split. They are crap. I won't be taking these back to the UK. I'll give them to my sister-in-law to use. She can just use them for bin bags at home. Been windy today actually. It's hot. 82 Fahrenheit at the moment, which in new money is about 27 centigrade. This is January. They call this winter. I said to the guy at John Wayne Airport, I said, winter? You wouldn't know if it came round and slapped you around the face, mate. But this ain't winter. Bleeding summer conditions for half the world. Right, let's keep going. Now we change that bag. So yeah, these long-range aircraft can comfortably fly, you know, from Europe across to the west side of the United States, and from the United States across to the Far East and whatnot. So that's really how to tell the difference between, I haven't mentioned my favourite two-engine aircraft yet, and they're making a newer version of it. I'll talk about it in a sec. This is the last of the two-engine aircraft. It's the Boeing 777. Now they're making a newer version of the 777 called the 777-800 and 900. And the project's running behind for some reason. I don't know why. Go and ask Perplexity. It'll tell you why. Perplexity is my latest friend. George told me about it, some AI thing. I asked it all sorts of questions. I even asked it where I was from. I said, Perplexity, judging by my accent, where am I from? Guess what? The bloody thing got it right. It said, hello, judging by your accent, it's a British accent, and you are from the southeast of England, most likely to the west of London. I was like, bloody hell. That's frightening. I did say well done. He said thank you very much. So yeah, but we'll get Perplexity on one of these AI things and say, judging by my accent, where am I from? It's from my accent and my situation that I'm cast here today. There's little baby George up there. Come on. Getting a little bit of litter in the middle. Where's little baby George? I can't quite see him at the moment. If he saw me, he'd most likely wave. He's probably gone to get a drink. So yeah, the Boeing 777. So the 777 actually came out, bloody hell, that's heavy. The 777 actually came out in 1995. United Airlines were the first to have it, and then they sort of done an extended version, the 777-300, which is about 10 meters longer. And now they're bringing out the 777-800 and 900, a bit more fuel efficient than the older versions, because obviously it comes down to fuel burn, and a lot of these companies are trying to slash their fuel burn costs. I'm going to need to change this bag as well, which is a pain. See what I can get in it, see what I can get in it. I've got to carry them a long way still. So the Boeing 777 is the last of the twin engine aircraft, very wide bodied. long range, affectionately known as the mini jumbo, believe it or not, because it's so big. It's known as the mini jumbo. Do you know what I might do with these bags? Just leave them, and when I come back down the road, I've got to come back this way, I might just put them in the back of my car and dump them. That's what I think I'm going to do, actually. Just come back to me in a sec, everyone. I'll just leave the bags by the roadside on the other side. I can just pull up and chuck them in the car, take them back to where I'm staying with my sister-in-law's house, and dump them from there. Right, everyone, I'm about 250 yards from the light. So what I've done is I've put the bags just across the road there, as you can see. Then when I can leave the observation place up there, I'll just come and pick them up and chuck them in the back of the car, and then when I find a street bin, I'll just go and put them by a street bin somewhere. That'll save a lot of aggro. It'll save me lugging them. I don't mind doing it that way. As you can see though, this middle bit's quite grubby. And this is bag 4 of the Los Angeles airport. Litter picking. Always looks better for a clean, don't matter where you are. Always looks better for a clean. Whew. So everyone, if you ever want to know the difference between a 2-engined aircraft, just look at its length, look at its width and whatnot. And you'll see, oh, you'll start telling the difference quite easily. You say, oh right, that's an A320 Airbus, or that's a 777. You know, 777s. I'll try and put a picture up actually. I'll see if I can find one. As you can see, I'll find one and put it up right now. But they're both twin-engined aircraft, but I think I've mentioned it before, the engines on the 777 are as wide as the fuselage on like the Boeing 737. So I'm not going to edit this video until I get home. And if I can, I'll try and get this bag with my first bag. Although saying that, I don't think I'm going to do it. There's so much big plastic here. It's been fallen off lorries or anything. It's just filling up the bag. Let's put a little quiz question up at the moment, just for a bit of fun, just to occupy our mind. Go on, Barry! Go on, Barry! He went past, like Barry. Let's put the quiz question up, everyone. You get 20 seconds to answer it, and then I'll put up the answer. Here it goes, up on the screen. Good luck! Bloody thing got stuck in the tongs. I can't wait to go home and have my own equipment, actually. It's going to be like finally got my own equipment again. I bet it look. I said to Lauren, oh, let's put the answer up first. Let's put the answer up before I get distracted. There's the answer, everyone. There's the answer to the quiz question. Well done if you got it right. Have another go if you get one. If you got it wrong, have another go on another question in the future. Right, my other bag's over there. I'll see if I can get this one to it. Definitely looks a lot better for a clean-up. So now I'll go to the, as I said, I'll put that picture up of the twin-engine planes. You can just see the difference. Although they're both just 2 engines, one's much longer, much wider, just much bigger. Now, for 4-engine planes, up until recently, they had the A380 Airbus, which you still got, the A340 Airbus, and I don't think there's many of them in service now. I think South African Airlines might have a few. And then you have got the Boeing 747, which I believe there's quite a few freighter versions, but not so many passenger versions of the 747. But as you can see, these are now 4-engine aircraft. They're all quite wide-bodied. If I can find one of see if I can find one of, say, a 747 next to a 777. So the 777, as I said, is 2 engines, but it is a big aircraft. It's a big 2-engined aircraft. As I said, it's known as the mini jumbo. Right, let me just dump this bag over the road, everyone. This is my first bag. This is bag 4. Let me just dump it over the road, wait for a gap in the traffic. I'll come back to you. Right, I've just dropped bag 4 over the road with bag 1, which, as I said, I'll pick them up in the car as when we drive back home. And I'll just dump them up where I'm staying. So, coming up to, this is my 5th bag, so it's been worthwhile. As I said, I know I sound like a repeating record, but when I was last here, last year, 2025, it was a good 10 to 12 bags of rubbish, but obviously the locals have demanded a clean-up. I demand the clean-up! I demand the clean-up! Actually, I've got to go and watch Chili's video when I come back. Probably been out about 10 hours now due to the time difference and the time of day. I'll give me something to watch later. When I get home, I ain't got that much to do for the rest of the day. So, it'll give me something to do. Right, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so the 4-engined aircraft. So you've got the A340 Airbus, which is basically a A350, basically, an A330 with 4 engines. Its fuselage isn't really much different, it's just the engines. Then you've got the 747, and then you've also got the A380. So the 747's got like a bubble in it going down the fuselage a bit, and then the A380 is like a double-decker all the way along. The Super Jumbo, as it's known, the Super Jumbo. So that's how you distinguish your planes. If most of them are 2 engines, if you see a 2-engined aircraft, look at the length of it, just think, oh, that's not too long, it must be either a 737 or an A321. Now there is subtle, I'm not going to mention it today, I can tell the part difference just by looking at the windows and the nose. The nose cone on the 737 is completely different to the Airbus. But that's really getting complicated, so we'll just do it by fuselage size at the moment. Tell you what, let me just fold that up a bit. Standing on the edge of the road and these big trucks are getting a bit too close for my liking. I think I'm only going to have one more bag. I think that'll probably do for today. I'm happy with what I've done. And then what I'll do is I'll sum up where I started, up on the top of the hill, which is now behind me. So yes, LA Airport, everyone. Certainly a good place to talk about planes whilst doing a litter pick. So I hope you found some of that information helpful. Might be able to, when you see a plane in the sky next, you think, oh, Gerard told me that's a 2-engined, not so long, narrow-bodied plane. That might be a Boeing 737. Right, let's get across real quick. Let's just cut the corner a bit. Don't need to walk all the way around. I walked across it earlier, so it's looking much better tidy though. Looking much better tidy. Much better. Right, that's better, everyone. I will just walk up to the hill and I will see you at the top of the hill. I think that'll do for today. because I'm not going to overly edit this video, apart from putting in a few pictures with Lauren and her relieving me of 20 quid for the pleasure of doing so. I don't think I'm going to do that much editing on this video. So I'm just going to walk up the hill here, everyone, and just do this road line in the meantime, and then I'll dump this bag by the bins that the city collected when I first arrived. So let's just fill up the bag and I'll catch you at the top of the hill. Yuck. Yuck. Right, there you have it, everyone. That's the 5th bag then. I walked up the hill. I got a little bit more, totally filled that bag. So it's 5 full bags, not bad. So I'll just leave you with this view of Los Angeles Airport. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll just walk up a little bit higher, just so I don't have the plants in my way. So this is the view of Los Angeles Airport. As I said, that's the Tom Bradley terminal. There's that Qantas A380. Now if you can see it and the camera's picking it up, you see it's wide bodied, 4 engines. That's the difference. Where you see that little yellow one, that's a Spirit 737, I would have thought. It's not so long, not so wide. So that's how you start telling the difference between them, what I've been chatting about on a lot of the video today. So and then all them ones Americans, they're all 777s. So they're the biggest of the 2-engined aircraft, and they're not really much smaller than the 4-engined aircraft. In some cases they are actually longer. So over in the distance there is Century City beyond the planes. If you're not familiar with Century City and you've seen the film Die Hard, that's the Nakatomi Plaza. That's where it takes place. It was filmed in one of them buildings there, the Die Hard. And if you can just see the crane by the control tower, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but there's a little white thing on the hill. That's the Hollywood sign, directly in the distance there. That's the Hollywood sign. I hope the camera's picking it up to some degree. I hope it just ain't a smudge, but if you can see it, you can see the control tower and that crane. There's the Hollywood sign. So thank you very, very much for joining me, everyone. It's a little bit quiet at the airport at the moment, just a small lull in the afternoon, but great place to watch planes if you're into them. We've given the area a little 5-bag clean up, which is always good, and it just leaves me to say I'm going back towards where I'm staying as that A320 Airbus takes off, going somewhere probably not too far. Just leaves me to say thank you for joining me, and catch you on the next one.